everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is exciting. Look who I have with me.
It's me.
Where have you been all my life?
Darling, just waiting for you in heaven.
I know, oh my goodness, it's so wonderful. For those of you that are returning to my channel, thank you so much for being here. I've been away for a little while, and this feels really exciting to step back into the space of YouTube, really stepping back into that space of being in conversation, bringing people together. That's always so passionate to my heart. And so I have a very special guest today. Pinch me. I love it. Mary, I'm like, what can I say about you? First and foremost, you are a friend. Mary CALLOZZO, it's a pleasure to have you here. Would you please
I am
introduce
so
yourself?
excited to be here. I'm just so excited. Kevin, guys, I'm going to start the entire thing off by saying that Kevin's my twin flame, and I love him.
I'll take
I
it.
was like, I tell the world this. And he's like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
So this has been a long time in waiting, I think, and we met very organically and very it was very spirit driven anyways, because we met like October 13th of this past year, 2023, at the Connect to Empower event. So it was like all of these psychics and healers were specifically drawn to one space. So it's a very spiritual path that brought us together. But the interesting thing is that I had actually, I don't think I told you this, but I had seen you before that on, I think you were on Susan Lynn's channel. And I don't stay, anyone who really knows me, I don't stay on YouTube a whole lot. I don't really watch a lot of social media stuff. But I happened to have YouTube up and saw a video that you did with her, and I knew Susan. So I was like, who is this man? I was immediately drawn, pulled up your website, looked at all of your stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm going to book with him. I'm drawn to this person. I need to book with him, but I never did. And then I heard that you were going to the event that I had been invited to speak at also. And I was just so excited. I was telling my partner the whole time, I'm going to meet Kevin. I'm going to meet Kevin. He was starting to get a little jealous. I'm going to go meet Kevin.
I love it. Well, you know what? That's so funny that you mentioned that, because similar, I actually saw you prior to knowing that we were going to be at the same event together on Susan Lynn. Shout out to Susan Lynn. Lovely. Woo woo. And truth be told, you really stood out. And what you were, I believe you were on there sharing about healing. I think you actually were doing healings for people. It was a live, if I'm not mistaken.
I did do one live with her. And
I listened to the whole hour or however long it was, and that's rare for me. So the connection that you and I had was undeniable, and I'll speak for me, like life-changing. Meeting you was life-changing in that familiarity and how we looked at each other and how we recognized beyond this physical, beyond this humanness, a connection I know will last me this lifetime and beyond. And so it is a pleasure to have you here. Mary is, oh gosh, so she's so many things, and I'm so excited for this conversation, this connection. Please stay with us till the end, because we are going to do something that is it's unscripted, but it's really, we'll get into it. And so the healing that's going to happen at the end, please stay for it. Mary CALLOZZO is a quantum healer, a shamanic teacher, a Reiki master teacher, an animal communicator, a color and sound therapist, a hypnotherapist, and the owner of the Rustic Raven. And now, if you feel there's a theme in hearing that, healing, I think, is a part of why Mary and I are so deeply connected, that part of, well, I'll speak for me, part of my life passion and purpose, one aspect of that is the healing. And so it is something that is so near and dear to me. And so seeing that in other people, and witnessing Mary in the fullness of her offerings at the event. And of course, we've stayed in connection after that event that happened last year. She just really has a lot to offer people. And so it's very wonderful. Now, you also have a YouTube channel. Can you tell people what your YouTube channel is?
Yes, it's Earth and Star Spiritual Wellness Center. That's where we're putting up my teaching. So I teach shamanism and advanced shamanism and Reiki and all of those things. But what I'm putting on my channel are specifically my teachings, the things that are just being specifically kind of downloaded into me as we go through. They're all the things that as I build what I'm building, I'm writing a book essentially, and it's called Cosmology of the Soul. And nobody else knows the title. So this is an exclusive. This is a Kevin the Healing Medium exclusive. Cosmology of the Soul. And what it really is, it's like a full book of belief on what the universe is and how to navigate it, essentially. Like what energy is and the soul is and how we get through this life and how to perceive things. And so my specific teachings that I'm coming to in the book are all of the things that are downloading into me as I do my YouTube videos. So when you watch my channel from the beginning to the end, each of these little videos has information that is, I'm not going to say exclusive to me because it comes from collective wisdom, which means we all have access to it, but they're not things that I learned from another human. And these are the things that we're putting out in the channel. I also channel archangels, and we have lots of other things that we're planning to put out there, just rolling with the inspiration as it comes. And I also like to do interviews with people who are part of our community, the healing community, and healing is super, super important. You did actually share one of my videos where I called you out, and I was like, I don't care what anyone says, that man is a healer. Because there is something about the heart space in that. And I never knew that I was going to be a healer. I actually went to a plant spirit medicine woman. She's from Australia, but she studied in Mexico. And this was, gosh, 8-9 years ago that I saw her. And it was because something was coming up in my soul, but I couldn't quite find the path. I kept hearing the word shaman in my brain, but at that time I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what it meant. And she's the only person where, like around here where I live, who did metaphysical or energetic work. And she runs this little place out of her home. So I went to her and she walked me through my very first guided meditation ever. And when I went through this meditation, it was insane. It's like it blew open my kundalini and my brain exploded. I had never been through anything like that before. And it was literally just a simple guided meditation, but everything in my spirit and in my soul was ready. It was right. And I just felt like this warmth all through my thighs and my legs. And I saw all my spirit guides at one time. You know, I saw the crow flying over my head and the bear and the hawk and the rabbit and the wolf, and all of these animals were with me. And I was walking through this whole thing, and it was an amazing experience that I came out of. And I was just like, I said, I feel like I've spent the first 25 years of my life being completely broken down, pulled down, torn apart, abused. And then I spent this much time trying to unwind it and just figure it out. But from the age of 30 on, this is the healing journey. Now I'm on a healing path, and something just really opened up in there. I found a teacher. I started learning everything that I wanted to learn, and I was ravenous. I've learned everything I can think of, and I'm still learning. I'm still soaking it all in. And one of the trades I did, it was also kind of like a journey, a shamanic journey or a guided meditation. Somebody was doing this for me, and she saw my energy field like this open field. It was empty. It was just an empty field. And she said, Mary, I kind of feel like we just need to know what you want to create. It's all just ready. So what do you want to create? And I didn't answer. My soul answered, and it just said life.
Wow.
And that's when I realized it was the healing, because that's what life is. It's not people just getting by, doing the 9 to 5, living in survival mode, fight or flight. It's about people really living and coming into a space of joy and expression and love. So we're doing the things that we have to do, but we're also exuberant and inspirational and joyful along the way as well. And that's what healers help you with.
Right. Well, I love that. And before we went live, we were touching on that. And it's one of the things that I love about you is that you are willing to, for one part of it, to be relatable. In that connection is this, and these are my words, being able to normalize these experiences that we have, good, bad, somewhere in the middle, normalizing them in a sense that it's okay to talk about them. And I love that. I love that. For me, there's vulnerability there. There's a depth of the willingness to allow healing to be a part of our human experience. And in that, it makes me think of a million questions that I have. So it's like you and I have established this already. I think there might be a follow-up or many to this this conversation, to our collaborations, and that really excites me. And so I want you to share with us your childhood, in the sense of, were you aware of your abilities as a child?
I knew you were going to ask this. Just because I'm psychic. I woke up this morning, I sat up in bed, and I was like, Kevin's going to make me talk about my childhood.
Yeah, it was clear.
Guys, I had a reading with Kevin one time, and he gets through all of the questions that I had. He answers all of my questions, and we have like 5 minutes left in the reading, and he goes, okay, this person and your mom and this person, and I'm going, Kevin, we really don't have time to get into what you're picking up right now, because you're talking about my entire childhood, like my whole life. So maybe it was just coming up for this moment.
Maybe.
I think I did always have the ability. I may not have always known I had certain abilities, because my earliest memories they're of angels and demons in my home. You know, I could see light beings and I can see dark beings. My earliest memories are of walking down a hallway from like my bedroom to the kitchen and hearing footsteps chasing me and me having to run from the footsteps. There was a wolf man who wore a plaid shirt who used to sit on the back of the couch in the living room all of the time. There was a leprechaun that lived in my bathtub. You know, there were all of these little beings. There were big shadow monsters that looked like mountains that would come out of my closet at night. But there were also like good things. There was one time we were watching, what's that evangelic? I don't even know if that's the right word for this. Like the preachers on TV. Is there like a Benny Hinn or Benny Hill? Benny Hinn?
Oh, Benny Hill.
Is it Hill?
Oh, I think there is like he's a comic, no? Or are we talking about something else? Maybe there's
like an evangelicist, like a who used to like heal people by whacking the TV screen.
Oh, okay, I don't know his name, but yes, that I can see that.
So like my stepmom at the time, she really liked to listen to him. And I was raised in a very strict Christian household in the South. So we weren't allowed to watch anything else. either. So I remember getting up early one morning and I was just sitting on the couch and that's what was on TV. And I really was kind of ignoring it, I think, but I just had such a visceral vision that I can remember it to this day. And it was so, so real that I saw hands in the prayer position floating in the corner of the living room. And it was very 3D. You know, it wasn't something that I had an awareness of. I was seeing with my third eye. It was there. There were hands in the living room there. And I still don't think I've come to the awareness of the exact meaning of that, but just knowing that it was there was a big thing. I remember one night I had pink eye as a child and I accidentally rolled out of the bed. So like my eye was shut because it was infected, but I rolled out of the bed and I was caught midair and rolled back onto the bed by some sort of angel or light being. So there was always the awareness that these things were there, that I was surrounded with these things, whether they be light or dark, they were just in existence. They were just there. You know, there was times when I saw eyes under my dad's bed, and my dad, he, bless his heart. He did his best. He really did. I don't think he really fully knew what to do. As there were times that I would go to his room screaming and he'd come out and he'd put oil on my door to try to anoint it. And, you know, the Christian way of keeping all of the bad things away and bringing light to a space. And I asked him when I was grown, because he didn't actually believe that I was seeing all of the things I was seeing. He kept telling me my whole life that they were dreams. But when I told her, I asked him, I said, if you thought they were dreams, why were you putting oil on my door and anointing the house? And he was like, I really don't know, because he was scared.
Yeah.
Whatever was happening, it was a little out of control for him. But it was just kind of like that. You know, I had the ability of sight, the gift of sight, and my mom had the gift of dreams. My mom died when I was 3. She had lymphoma, and that was a big shift in our house as well. In fact, I think a lot of my abilities really amped up after her death. And then there was just a lot that went on between that age and being a grown person. It just seemed like it was one thing after another. You know, we moved after her death. Within a couple of years after her death, my dad remarried. So really kind of what I say to people is my story of being a good healer, or at least being a compassionate healer, is that I've been through a lot. There's not a whole lot that people can come to me with that I haven't been through myself in some capacity. I don't make it about me, you know, so a lot of people don't know this because I don't share my personal stories when I'm on a call, but I have the awareness of the bigness of what you're going through and the compassion to hold that, because I've been through family deaths, I've been through diseases, I've been through abuses, sexual assaults, addictions. You know, I've been through all of those things and felt the heaviness of them, and then healed them and come through the other side. Even I have this passion for like PTSD type stuff also. Not just because of abuses and things like that, but also at one point I lived on a military base, and I see the kind of brainwashing and crazy stuff that happens. And then they come home from living in this war unit and they're suffocating their wives in their sleep because their brains just aren't there. You know, so there's huge heart, a huge compassion for trauma, for trauma, really. And also in the way that people are today and the way that the world is, I also have a pretty compassionate heart space for the LGBTQ plus community. I have a big heart space for the trans community. I feel like these are people who get pushed under the rug a lot because people are afraid to talk about those things. And because of the way that I view and understand masculine and feminine energy, I have the ability to connect with these people without it being about their sexual orientation.
Mm,
It's just about soul. So like I said, there's really not a whole lot that you can come to me with that I don't understand in some capacity, or at least I'm able to hold a huge compassionate space for you while we work through. I'm
right.
pretty long suffering and patient. We can get through it together for sure.
Mhm. That's beautiful. Before we go a little deeper into the healing, what healing is, why some people don't heal, your role as a healer, I want to circle back to, so just hearing what you were sharing about being a child, having these abilities, these sensitivities, these awarenesses, these experiences, and the adult sometimes not knowing or knowing what they know, in that, and then the part about the grief, feels like a bit of a catalyst for deeper learning, deeper healing. And in that, now as a mother of beautiful children, I might add, what do you offer your children or the younger people that are having these experiences? Because I know a lot of people listening, do have the younger children generation. Um, and it really is an opportunity for people to, in some respect, do different, with these children or young ones that are having these experiences. So I'm curious if you, would share, some of your, tips or suggestions around that.
I love kids. Kids are so fun to work with.
Mm,
One, they're pretty much open to anything. You know, they're not closed down. Two, they're really easy to work with because they don't have years and years and years and years worth of trauma that's weighing them down. So we get to work on them and then they're okay, you know? So they're easy. Number three, they're not judgmental. They don't come in like, oh my God, you know, they are just so pure and wonderful and playful and fun. And I have a great time with the kids, and they're so, so important. Getting kids into some sort of healer or spiritual worker at a young age, a good worker at a young age, I actually think is really important
mm,
because it's teaching them that the things that they're seeing and feeling are okay and normal to see and feel. Children have imaginary friends. Children have thoughts and see things and feel things that adults don't, you know, most of the time. A lot of the children that come to me, they have out of body experiences where they feel like they're like floating outside of their bodies while they're at school and things like that. And it's just their soul integrating into their body, but they just feel like crazy, or they just don't know how to navigate their world because they're still developing their sacral chakras. They're trying to learn how to have interpersonal relationships. So I do think it's super important for them to get in to see healers and spiritual workers and things like that at a young age. It doesn't mean they're not going to go through traumas. It doesn't mean they're not going to go through their wounds that make them into the person they're supposed to be, but they're going to be better equipped and have the tools and the awareness and the capacities to deal with their emotions when they do go through those things. And the biggest piece of advice I can give any parent: when your child tells you something, believe them. Believe them. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give you. If a child has a weird memory, if a child's saying that they're seeing something or feeling something, it doesn't matter whether it's real from the outside, it's real to them. And that's creating very real emotions, real thoughts, because every single thing that they believe they're seeing is creating thoughts and emotions in their body, and then they're acting on that. And so if we're the parent, the caregiver, the person responsible for keeping them safe, and we're telling them that's not real, or okay, honey, and placating them, or just flat out not believing them, we're teaching them self-rejection. We're teaching them to shut down their gifts. We're teaching them that what's happening in the spiritual plane is not real and doesn't matter here.
mm.
We are the reason that our children grow up explicit, screwed up. And
Yeah.
we do our best. We do our best as parents. You know, I'm sure I've traumatized my children, but I do my best. you
My
know.
gosh, I love it. And that's the thing, like seeing a lot of different clients and people when they share I think it's a sharing of their children and trusting us to be obviously in a space of being consensual, and of course the parents acknowledging that, where they share these experiences, it lights me up. And then to hear them where it's like, I got my first oracle deck when I was like 8 years old, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like I mean, it makes my heart so happy when I hear that, to really invite people, to allow people to have their experience, and beyond whether we understand it or we don't, to nurture that experience for them, that belief for them, I think is just so beautiful. So you're now at, I think I heard you say 25, and that's interesting because 25 for me was the year that I explained to people I got to this age, or coming to, as far as recognizing who I was, who I am, and beyond 25. Although I've had trips around the sun, I don't feel any older in some respect. I look older, but 25 was pivotal for me as well. Like, and so I'm not surprised that for you as well. So here you are, you're at this meditation, I think I heard you say, with this medicine woman. How did that push you, and what really took you to the moment where you were like, healing is like, you were all in?
That's, well, she was, the whole reason I went to see her was because I kept hearing that word shaman in my head over and over and over again, even though I didn't really know what it was or what it meant. So I went to see her. Everything kind of blew open for me. And interestingly, somebody called me within a few weeks of that visit and said, hey, I heard that you were looking for a shamanic teacher. And I was like, how did you know that? No. And she said that she had some alert online on her website that I was interested in more information, but I don't remember ever going to her website. So it was very much a synchronicity that this woman ended up calling me. And so then I began the shamanic practitioner training program course with her, and that was a year long. And her teacher's teacher was at the Four Winds School, Alberto Vialdo's school. So we did the whole shamanic training. But while I was in that program was very life changing, because when you start healing, it's not just something that you do here and there. When you really start healing yourself, which is what you have to do first before you become a healer, you have to heal yourself. When you really get into that program, it becomes a way of life. It just changes how you think, it changes how you feel, it changes your perception, everything just changes. And so then I was really just on this place of healing myself, and it felt good.
Mm.
It felt peaceful. It felt like upsetting, because you're bringing all those emotions up and all these old things up so that you can work through them. But it just, everything began to heighten. I would suddenly become very blissful at random moments, peaceful at random moments. I was starting to see energy. I could see the outlines of auras around trees and plants in my own hands. And it was just this amazing feeling. I loved going into journey work and talking with my guides, and I was having amazing, beautiful, big visions. I had a vision of, like, I also have a elephant power animal. Its name is Paolin. And I had a vision of Paolin taking its trunk and wrapping it around my head and pulling my head off of my body. And I came from that vision. I was like, oh my gosh, that was horrible. But I actually looked it up online, and apparently this is a fairly normal occurrence that collectively people sometimes have. And it happens when you're about to, like, level up or something like that. Your head comes off of your body. I don't know. That's what I read, but I had the vision. And so just going through this healing of myself, I was really just enjoying healing myself. But at the same time, I was offering this to others, and I can't really give you a clear definition of what led me to it or why. It's just one of those things that when you're walking your path, you're just automatically doing what you do. So I was offering this stuff after hours because I was working a different job at that time. And people were just starting to come, and they were just starting to come, and they were starting to come. And I got to a point where my teacher said, you know, you're going to teach, right? And I was like, yeah, I guess. You know, I've been getting that word too. So let's do it, I guess. And then I started teaching, and everything else is just history. You know, we just get to these places where we realize we're offering to others what was offered to us, and it's the reciprocity of the planet.
So beautiful. Mary, what is healing to you?
Life. It's life. Healing is taking all of the things that are separating you from your God self. All of the things that are causing worthlessness, shame, lack of safety, scarcity, everything that's keeping you from being fully open in your heart space, and flushing it out, coming to a space of awareness of why that's there, what we're thinking. Because I believe that all of these heavy emotions, like I mentioned a minute ago, they come from belief systems that we hold. And we don't always know that we're thinking these things, but these things are placed in our brain during wounds or traumas or experiences that we've had. So having a negative experience teaches us that we can't do this thing or this thing will happen. And that's not always true, because we're not facts, we're not math, we're people. So one person being mean to me doesn't mean that I don't have worth, but my body holds that emotion because I was told that I don't have worth. So the healing is coming in and saying, but why do you think that that's true? Why do you think you don't have worth? And let's fix that part. Let's teach you your power, your connection, your gifts. Let's bring empowerment to you and teach you how to love yourself. And none of the other stuff matters. And some of this develops over time. For instance, we were talking about the children and the chakras, because the sacral chakra, our interactions with other people, develops before our solar plexus chakra, which is our development within ourselves, which means that naturally we rely more on what other people tell us about ourselves before we learn what we think about ourselves, which is why so many of these imprints are in there, because we were just told what we were long before we even had an awareness of what we thought we were. So with healing, we're just going through, we're retraining the mind about what to believe and what it is. We're flushing all the heavy emotions, and we're coming back to connection with our heart space and back into connection with our God self.
Wow. Could you expand a little on why some people do not heal?
Last time I tried to do this, I got into trouble.
Oh, did you?
People don't want to hear that they're not going to heal.
Yeah.
So here's what I have to say about that. Now, if we believe that a blockage in your energy field long term creates illness in the physical body, okay, then that means that by the time we get to a hurt or ill place in our physical bodies, it has a lot to try to unwind. Okay, because that's the last place it touches. The first place it touches is the mind, the energy, the emotions, and then the physical body. The physical body is the last place to exert wounds. Your body is going to try its best to do anything that you tell it to, because it's your best friend, it's your vessel, it's your tool, it's your house. So if my mind is continuing to say, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I have no worth, nobody wants me, yada, 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 your body is continuing to try to create that for you. because it wants to do what you want. And that's what it thinks that you want. So then your body responds to that. And over time, your body's holding on to so much negative emotion that we develop cancers, we develop arthritises from bitterness and things like that. And so things like that, while we can have miraculous healing, and I've seen it done, I've had people come in and we've healed them from food allergies, from baldness. We've healed people from pituitary tumors. We've healed people from all kinds of physical things miraculously because that's all it took. But every now and then we get somebody come in who they're willing to work and heal. And what I say is that you can always be healed, because if they do the work, the soul and the emotions and the mind can always be healed. But sometimes the body can't recover from that. So the body, once destroyed, because it's a temporary 3D thing, may not be able to be reversed. So this is where you end up with your hip replacements, your knee replacements, your surgeries, things that our 3D doctors can deal with. I think everyone can heal on an energetic, emotional level, but sometimes on a physical level, things have gone a little far, or we've waited too long to heal. But I will also say, and this was the thing that some people didn't like hearing me say a while back, you have to work with the medium you're given. And your medium is your canvas, your body. Sometimes before your incarnation, we choose to have certain physical issues wrong with us, or even mental issues wrong with us, so that we can experience and perceive the world from that space, which means healing and bringing joy and gratefulness and love and a good life using the medium that we gave ourselves to use. We chose these bodies for a reason, knowing that they were going to be this way. And so something about whatever this disability is or this illness is can be used as a tool towards your growth or towards reaching other people in a more effective way. So learning how to use the medium that you have can further your growth spiritually and exponentially at that, because you're working with half the tools that other people have if you're trying to do your spiritual growth and expansion while you're ill. So it really can really push us into much bigger growth more quickly if we don't fall into suffering and despair about it, but if we can still be joyful and grateful and loving.
I love that. Safe to share that here. I love it. How would you describe, or how do you see your role as a healer?
How do I see my role as a healer? How do you see your role as a healer? What does this mean?
Right? So when people are coming to you for a healing, how do you see yourself in relation to their healing process?
The word that came in was bystander.
Oh.
Interesting. That's the word that dropped into my brain. Now, a lot of people, when they come to me for healing, I walk them through healing themselves. I think it's really important for them to have their own visions, for them to meet their own guides, for them to actually physically go through their old memories, to see the things that are holding them back. And the people who are open to doing that and are willing to do that, they have profound healing processes versus people who are more passive in their healing. And it's okay to be passive in your healing from time to time, especially if there's a blockage where you can't go in and see things yourself, for a little while, or if it's a big enough trauma that you need help, you can't just go into it yourself. So in those particular instances, I always go in myself. I clear and tell them what I'm seeing and stuff like that. But most of the time, we're just walking hand in hand. Most of the time, I'm there with you. I'm in this vision with you. I'm seeing what you're seeing, but you're leading. And you're telling me what you're experiencing, what you're feeling. And I'm just there to assist you. I'm just there to love you, to hold you, to keep you in a safe space, to help guide you when you need it. But you're in charge of it all. And you're the one walking through this. So witness, the observer, the bystander, I want to say the word friend because it's like holding that hand, but I don't see it as a friend because I think friends kind of just tell you what you want to hear. And I'm also not that Capricorn moon. If you remember, I'm daddy. I'm going to tell you what you need to be told so that you can see the truth. So I would say bystander.
Oh, I love that. And so really allowing them to see that ultimately they are the healer, you know, and our part in that is that perhaps reflection or that witness. In that, can you share an experience that deeply and profoundly, I guess, deepened your trust with spirit?
You know, I'm thinking I felt logically like you wanted me to go, and you may not have, but logically I felt like I wanted to share an experience about a healing that I went through, but that's not what came to my mind. So what came to my mind was the first time that I met an alien. That's actually what came to my mind.
I love it. Which kind of ties into, actually, so it's so good.
So about being vulnerable and having all of these experiences. I mean, my healing journey, it was vulnerable because you have to be able to be vulnerable and let your heart guards down in order for people to really reach you, in order for you to really reach you, in order for you to be honest with yourself. And I felt like I was really able to do that through my healing journey and didn't try to hold back very much. But there was one night in particular, like if we're talking about getting vulnerable, we're really talking about the types of energies and beings and entities that have come to me. That's where we're really getting vulnerable. There was one night in particular, I was working late. I had just had a healing session and they left. It was probably 9:30 at night. And it was winter, so it was really dark. And I was sitting in the building. There were no lights on in the building. It was just a dark building. And I had come out and I was doing something with my paperwork. And all of a sudden, I just felt this present come up behind me. And it felt very looming, like it was tall and kind of looming over me. I could almost see it out of the corner of my eye here. And I just froze. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. It wasn't saying anything. It was just like looming over me while I sat there. And this went on for a few minutes, neither of us saying anything. And I finally said, "What do you want?" And I don't even remember what it said because aliens, you know, other dimensional beings. But essentially, what this was, I later found out, was a gray alien. And it had come to me to tell me of my destiny and the thing that I was going to do. I don't remember exactly what the wording was, but I knew from that visit that being in that little building doing after hours healing was not the end of my journey. It was just the beginning because it was like, here we are doing this thing. And since then, I've met lots of different kinds of aliens. I've had them come into my home. We have a recording room in my home because my partner does music recordings. So we have lots of equipment in our computer area and there's always lights. And that seems to be where a lot of the aliens like to come, is around all the technology and the equipment. I've noticed that they kind of gather there sometimes and I have to shoo them out of the house. And one of my children, my youngest, is a starseed. So he has lots of aliens that come around him all of the time. So the alien energies were, I felt pretty vulnerable with the alien energies. And that was pretty profound to me in my learning because they were also the ones that kind of showed me that I could move across interdimensional timelines so that I could heal multiple timelines that are happening all at once. if that makes sense. Like they were the ones to teach me, oh yeah, you can do this, but I can see you. This is real. So when you're in this timeline, I want you to know I'm here too. They just, the aliens, there's something else, because they're not like guides. They're not like angels. They're not like super welcoming. I'm here to guide you. Ah. You know, they're not like that. They are literally like other beings. They're like you, but in blue form. And they're over there just doing what they do or bringing messages. And so I think that was a very profound experience for me. As well as the first time meeting, my first time as an adult meeting an angel. I had, once again, I was in my healing room, had just finished a session, and I was cleaning up the room after my session. And this huge angel, it took up like the whole room, came in. And I don't remember what I did or said. I just have an immediate awareness that I was like face down on the floor, like, oh my gosh, and just kind of laid down. And it was this huge angel, and it told me, you're going to open the shop next door and you're going to do this. Once again, destiny type stuff. It was telling me, and I argued. I said, no, please. No, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. It's just a lot. It'll just take a lot of time. I just don't want to do that. No, thank you. And it was like, you will wing flap. It was, I cried. About it. I didn't want to do it. But those were like profound experiences. The vulnerability of seeing is that you see everything. You don't get to just choose when to shut your eyes and to turn off your gifts. So, you know, we've been visited sitting on the toilet before, in the bathroom. Like we get, you know, as a psychic, you get visited by all these things all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? Boundaries, spirit. I love it. Who or what inspires you, Mary?
That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that before, I don't believe. It's something that I really love to sit with. I don't make videos unless I feel inspiration. There's a lot that I feel inspired to do. But when I feel the inspiration, I feel like it's just coming from source energy. Like it's time now. The collective energies of what is, the cycles of life, of the world. So I keep coming back to that word life. It's interesting that you keep bringing that back up in me, because when I feel like that is my inspiration, you know, when we feel people hurting, people going through tough times, when we see people being abused or children not receiving what they deserve and desire and think, all of these inspire me to keep creating. Because if we can create a world where everyone feels safe and loved, then these things won't exist. And I know that within a world of duality, that lack of safety is what pushes us to grow and expand. But I still think that we can grow and expand and be inspired in a loving way, in a way that begins to unify the world rather than tear it apart and separate everybody. So honestly, if we're looking at it from that point of view, suffering is inspiration, because that's what's inspiring us to do the work, to bring the healing, to bring the love, to bring the unity. From that point of view, destruction and hatred is the inspiration, because that's what's guiding us to push forward and to teach and preach about acceptance. So
I love that. And that ripple effect of that's so inspiring to hear that. I love that. That's one of the reasons why I love you so deeply. Everything that I've witnessed you, and just that knowing of you go in wholeheartedly, and that I think that brings in aspects of integrity and ethic, and in that I see you and I am inspired by you. And you speak of the world. And so kind of last thought before we move into a beautiful healing, what brings you a sense of hope in these concerning times?
the words, the dream.
Mm,
came to me. The dream is hope, because that's kind of inspiration in itself.
mm,
And for me, when I think of the dream, I'm thinking of what I'm creating. I know that on a 3D level, I'm creating a retreat space where people can come heal, where people can connect into nature. But the 3D of the retreat doesn't really hold the charge of what it really is. The dream is simply holding a space where people can have this reconnection, where people can heal, where people feel accepted. There is no better feeling than having someone come to you in pain, knowing that all you have to do is to be in love,
mm,
and they don't be in pain anymore. And that it shifts everything for them. In fact, at that event, that Connect to Empower event, after the group healing, someone came up to me and said, Mary, it was very inspiring for me because you said to take what you need.
mm.
And she said, no one's ever said that to me before. And so for that person, just those words here, take what you need. Oh, it makes me want to cry
Yeah.
because you don't realize, I mean, maybe we do, but the suffering of people, how people aren't able to receive worth or love or just what they feel like they need. I didn't say take all you want. I said take what
Mm,
you need. And she said, no one's ever said that.
um,
This is just a profound thing. This is just what we're here to do and to create. And as light workers, we're shifting the frequencies of the planet. You know, I'm going to be honest. I came from a space where I did a lot in shamanism, where people knew me as the shamanic healer, where I'm the shamanic teacher, and I am those things as one of my tools. But the reason that I have shifted out of wanting to just be known for my shamanism is because of this thing that I'm creating. Because shamanism is a very balanced subject. It is light and dark, it is duality, it is the balance of all of life and all of nature. But I'm called to walk a right hand path specifically, a light path only, because that's the path, even though it's not balanced with the dark, that's the path that really pulls people out of the darkness.
mm,
That's the path that is the complete polar opposite of the darkness. And because I walked a balanced and integrated path for so long, I understand the difference and the importance of being out of balance long enough to pull other people out of death, out of the darkness. So, because I'm being called to this right hand path, this is just a new me, a new place, new teachings. This is all light. This is angelic. This is everything that I'm actually physically being called to do. And I don't think I've said that to anyone else either. So, another Kevin exclusive.
I can feel it. I got the whole body tingles. Wow. Mm-hmm.
Love it when your body tingles.
Yeah. Head to toe. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Um, can we go back because we spoke about it a little bit, and then maybe that will move us into how I will let you take the lead in this closing piece. What happened in Chicago?
What happened in Chicago?
What
So,
updated there? Share with
uh,
our lovely viewers.
so for the group healing, what we ended up doing in Chicago was opening a energy vortex that was holding a specific intention to remove from your life everything that was keeping you from your intention, whatever thing. We went through a journey where people got to find their intention of what they want in their life, whether they want their life to be hopeful, free, loving, peaceful, whatever they really wanted to create in their lives. And for some people, this could have been very, very physical. It's just something that they wanted to accomplish, things like that. So people got to pick their intention. And then we gathered everyone together and we opened an energy vortex that would go inside of their bodies, that would remove all of the blockages and everything standing in the way of them achieving that thing. In shamanism, this is called a waka. And I recently have had a session with somebody who was there, and she said that the morning after the waka, her mother died. So I'm not going to say her name or anything. I love you though. And that's a big thing, because those things sometimes happen, you know, but this was somebody, she wasn't upset about it. This was expected, you know, she had been being cared for and all that kind of stuff. So there are big things. A lot of people had really big changes after that energy vortex. Now, today, I was recording something for my channel. And while I was doing that recording, I was doing a reading with some cards out of my alien deck. And mind you, the reading wasn't for me, it was for the viewers. And I pull a card, and immediately I have alien energy come in, and I start to get guidance that we are going to be doing today. I heard with Kevin, we're going to be doing a Lemurian heart vortex. And I was like, well, I don't know what that means. Okay. Oh, throw the whole script in the trash and burn it. You know,
Totally.
I do a specific kind of energy vortex. You know, I told you when coming out of shamanism, I came straight into the light, the right-hand path. So I do an energy vortex that I call the Bliss Point Bridge, which is where we have the Archangel Metatron come in and create a bridge in your DNA, bridging you directly to heaven or directly to the upper realms, the future realms, so that you are directly in alignment with your destiny and what you want. And that's what we were going to do today. And then the aliens came in and said, nope, we're doing a Lemurian heart vortex, end of story. And okay, I was completely thrown off, but it's so perfect, because in Chicago, once again, when you did a guided meditation there, you know, I was standing up because I was supposed to be working Kevin's music, guys. And then I went to a meditation and didn't do that for him. I went to meditation and I saw you. I saw you and I, and we were in this pyramid, but I had the awareness that we were like avian or Lemurian because we were blue and there were feathers.
Pause. Pause. This was for you.
When did you draw that?
Literally last night in an experience, and it didn't fit in what I was taking part in. So I get it now. You can't make that up.
No, you can't. And we were in this pyramid, but we were like blue avian or something like that. And there was Lemurian energy in there too. And I just had an awareness that you and I had been through many different alien lives together. And I know at the costume party, we dressed up as the blue avians. But the Lemurian energy is coming through. And actually what I drew looks like this. I don't know if you can see it.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know why, just some symbol. And on the back, it says, "You are beautiful." I don't know who wrote that. Somebody. I don't know who wrote that. That's not my handwriting, but I love it. I love it. So today, what that kind of is going to look like for you guys is Kevin and I, are going to tap into this Lemurian energy and create an energy vortex or energy opening directly to your heart space. And I heard that what this is going to do is activate. So I've done heart activations in the past, but not a Lemurian heart vortex. So we're going to see what comes up with this. And I love that me and Kevin get to do this together on his channel, because that was also like how I even opened that waka in Chicago, was with Kevin's help. I was planning to do this all by myself, but the day before I was supposed to speak, I don't know why, I just reached out my hand like this, and Kevin took my hand and we just held hands while we were sitting there watching somebody else speak. And while we were holding hands, I immediately started, well, not immediately, after like a few seconds, I started feeling this. through my body. And I looked at Kevin, and Kevin looked at me, and he said, "Do you feel that?" Yes. And I had the immediate knowing that us together can create huge energy vortices, that we can open these pathways of energy. So it was amazing. And I was so excited about it. And I'm excited that we get to do it again.
So good.
So
So
if you don't get your heart activated by Lemurian aliens, then turn it off. Just through my accident. I'm hearing activating, but what I'm hearing is activating the, okay, I was thinking like Lemurian is in your DNA, but it's ancient wisdom in your DNA is what it's activating. Activating ancient wisdom. So we're talking pyramids, we're talking Mount Shasta, we're talking all that kind of energy. The ancient knowledge and wisdom that lives in your DNA is going to be awakened and activated. And it's so interesting that it's happening through the heart space, because the heart space is, I explained this in my video that I recorded, that I recorded this morning, because in that video I was like, okay guys, Kevin the healing medium, this is what's happening. And in that video I had explained what the significance of the heart space, and how everything in the physical realm has to pass through the heart to become metaphysical, and everything metaphysical has to pass through the heart to become physical 3D. The heart is our gateway. It is our vortex, our own personal passageway between the realms. So I love that this is where this vortex is going to go.
so good. I'm here for it.
You are. You're going to create it.
How am I going to do it?
Okay. So start here. I'd like everyone to just kind of take a few deep breaths, really get into your meditative state. So if you need to lay down, and the reason we get into a meditative state is so that you're receptive. We want you to be receptive and able to receive the energy that we're giving out. If you're just scrolling through or doing other things, you're not in a receptive state, you're in an active state. So just lay down, rest, take a few deep breaths. Concentrate on your heart space and the opening of that heart space, letting down your walls, letting yourself be open to receiving, not feeling like you have to keep yourself safe or protect yourself. Kevin and I now are going to send out this lovely, safe, warm blanket of energy over everyone throughout infinity who will ever see this video. We're just sending out that safety so that you don't have to protect yourself right now. You're in a safe space. You're bathed in golden light. Start bringing your awareness to your DNA. It's almost as if you can picture the double helix, the strand of DNA moving through your body. And Kevin and I, at this time, with one palm down and one palm up, we're going to start connecting into the Lemurian energy, the Lemurian aliens, and asking them, the ones who contacted us about this Lemurian heart vortex, asking them to send the activating energy that the collective needs at this time to bring awakening, focus, wisdom, health, awareness. I see rising up, bigness, power, empowerment. And as we connect into that energy, we're going to start creating a strand, a road, a vortex straight from them into your heart spaces. Only into your heart spaces will this go. And from your heart space, It's almost like seeing mycelium, little roots that are all interconnected, moving from your heart space. This vortex is going straight into your heart, and then the energy is moving and expanding and spreading through your whole body, encompassing you in its light and in its energy. And as you become encompassed in its light and in its energy, it begins to seep into your DNA, lighting it up, activating it. You might see blue colors, purple colors, gold colors, wings. It's activating all of this ancient knowledge and wisdom inside of your DNA. Any visions or thoughts or emotions or sensations that come to you, just be open to receiving them and experiencing them and observing them. And at this time, I feel the aliens cutting off their end of the road. So, Kevin, you just hold your space until all the energy empties from you into these viewers. Slowly start to come back to your body when you're ready. And kind of how I see this sitting, because you viewers are going to feel the after effects even after Kevin and I do, because we were acting as the channel versus the receptor. But how I see this settling, I saw it coming into the heart, moving through the body, activating that DNA. And then I see this energy vortex that's moved into your heart and through your body, coming up to your crown. And it almost looks like, I don't want to look like I don't want to say a spaceship necessarily, but it was that cylinder round shape moving above the crown of the head. And it looked like it was shining light down out of it. So to me, what this looks like, this energy vortex, instead of it looking like a little tornado in your heart, it looks like it's moved through the heart, activated everything, and the energy, the residual energy, is sitting over the crown, filling you constantly, just sending light, sending energy into your body. Now, I do see where over time this will dissipate and go away. I'm seeing for some of you 3 days, some of you 5 days, some of you 7 to 14 days. So it really just depends on how quickly you integrate individually. But this energy is here, just over your head, just shining, filling you constantly until your DNA is completely activated and we have all of that ancient wisdom inside of us so that we can move forward. That word empowerment and that word healer really keep coming to me. So I think that a lot of the people who receive this today do political work, maybe, or have political passions. And then there's people on the opposite spectrum of that who are very, have a lot of emotion-based experiences, maybe empaths or things like that. So there's a broad spectrum of people, but it feels very empowering, very balancing, and like there's a lot of wisdom to be brought. What was your experience, Kevin?
So good. I love it. Sharing in the miracle, the first thing that I felt was that I wrote it down was that I got very lightheaded, very aware of the energy in the crown and the upper chakras. That ancient wisdom, it's really one of the reasons why it's coming up and surfacing and being mirrored for us. They're saying it's to let us look at our belief system. Our belief system is really something that we can, if we want to change the course of our life, we have to look at this. And so in that awakening, they were talking about, and I've been talking about this, and other people have been talking about this, about the 12-strand DNA was another thing that I wrote. So there is this upgrade. This is the evolution and us walking together into this new world. And it is through the heart space. So it is not by coincidence or mistake. It is through the inspiration that you are taking this right path, Mary, and that is the light. And so what that will do for people is the miracle. Let's not make it small, and together we can make that happen. So
Yeah.
cool.
Yes, it's crazy because I kept seeing it being so big.
Yeah.
Like that's why I was saying maybe this is like political, because I almost see a collective awakening, a collective change of belief systems is kind of what I was seeing, something big. Yeah.
So big, bigger than we can even comprehend, but we can feel it. And that's that knowing. This was truly, I think, just the beginning.
Kevin's 100.
Say it again.
I was saying that you said we were going to do 100 of these.
Why the heck not? Why the heck not? I'm here for it.
I don't have any hex, so yes.
So good. I love you. Thank you for being here. So for people that do feel called to work with you, to connect with you, Mary, how do they get a hold of you?
If you want to book an appointment right now, all of my appointment bookings are under www.therusticraven.net. And I think Kevin said that he'll put a link in there so you have access to that website. And this is just where you go if you want to book a session with me or one of the other healers who work with me here. If you want to just follow my teachings, be able to connect in, get free little snippets of healings like this and things like that, just go to my YouTube channel. That's Earth and Star Spiritual Wellness Center. And I think he'll also put a link in there for that. But this is how we get into touch. So we have our sessions and our bookings, and then we also have free spaces where you can just come, be part of the community, watch, receive teachings. We might do some healings, the meditations, whatever we feel called to do. We channel some archangels over in there and get some information from them. We did Jophiel recently, and we haven't like physically channeled Metatron, but we have received a couple of healing. We've received some healing energy from Metatron, and I keep being told that Raphael's coming in, according to Kevin.
Oh, yes, that's right. I'm like, did I say that? Right. I remember now. Yes.
You did. I see him like right on the outskirts, but he hasn't really come in yet with any messages. So we're going to see how that begins to evolve.
Love it. Wonderful. Like you said, Mary, the YouTube page and the website will be in the description box below of this video. Be sure to head over to Mary's channel, like, subscribe, all that stuff. If you haven't liked or subscribed mine, please do so as well. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Just a little push of the button. We really appreciate it. This was wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. And be sure, if you're watching this video and you've watched it to the end, share with us in the comments what your experience was from that last part, the healing. So, Mary, I look forward to this again.
I love you so much.
I love you more. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you again.
Bye.
Now.